Now you can search for new episodes by subject matter at londonreal.tv. Brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform we use at London Real. Can you walk me through Guantanamo? Can you walk me through what's currently going on down there right now and where it's kind of come from the last, say, 12 years?
So what is currently going on, and beginning, remember, and this has been covered by so many others, but initially they wanted to find a way, and you got to really look at Cheney and the gang of lawyers that he got around him, who had in most cases had been saying the same thing: we got to have unitary executive theory. 9/11 was their opportunity to say, see, we got to have a unitary executive, we're at war now, and they've adopted this, their own unique interpretation of the Constitution that to claim war powers when you're at war. So they needed a war to justify and implement their theory of unitary executive theory under the supposed war powers of the president, which in their interpretation means the president then can exercise extrajudicial dictatorial powers because acting as commander-in-chief.
Okay.
So they invented this whole scheme of law, borrowing a little bit from international armed conflict, a little bit from non-international armed conflict, and now in the Civil War, weaving this all together and getting this idea that, well, we can have prison camps too. I mean, just like these other authoritarian states did, so can we.
But they had to intelligently place them.
So they had to figure out a way, though, to get it out from under the Constitution. And some of these people have been working full-time at it, I'll say, ever since, to try to justify that, yeah, we're at war, so we need to put the Constitution aside. And I vigorously disagree with that.
Was this a plan for 10, 20, 30 years back that Guantanamo would be a place?
Dick Cheney has famously said, if you want to understand unitary executive theory, or however you put it, go back and read the Iran-Contra Minority Report, which he largely authored as the member of Congress at the time. And I'm actually reading a book which I highly recommend to anybody watching this and to you. It's The Family Jewels by John Prados, and it's a current book, a recent book. And the family jewels are the many secrets of the CIA going back to its founding, of every sort that has been tried to kept out of the public view. And these are those things that came out when William Colby revealed them to the Church Committee in the United States Congress in the 1970s, showing how there had been plans to assassinate people and a whole variety of things, total surveillance of the American people, etc. You got to remember, during the Vietnam War, the Army was conducting surveillance of anti-war activists and others that they believed were in dissent. And now the Army, meaning the Department of Defense, the NSA, which falls under the Department of Defense, is now, as we know, is surveilling everybody, and including people in the United States, all people in the United States, virtually, with the, picking up of all the data that they're doing.
Right, and Iran-Contra, you're saying, that's what, 86, 87?
So this was, Iran-Contra was in 86, 87, and so Cheney put it out then about, again, his unitary executive theory, and with 9/11 then, everything, if you read the legal opinions written by John Yoo, he always, or virtually always, and it wasn't John Yoo alone. Unfortunately, there's others. Robert Delahunty, who now teaches in Minnesota at a law school, was a co-author of many of these opinions, and there's a number of other attorneys in that office, legal counsel, all writing on the same theme, that the president, under his unitary executive powers, can do anything he wants. He can violate international treaties like Geneva, and on.
So Guantanamo was the perfect place to put it.
So Guantanamo was a perfect place.
Were there any other options besides Guantanamo, in your legal opinion?
And here's the other thing, and you mentioned 9/11. But Ali Soufan, who was an FBI agent who had been involved with investigating Mideastern terrorist incidents or acts of violence like that for a number of years before, he wrote in a book, The Black Banners, that the United States, the CIA, when they first went in the military then, when they first went into Afghanistan, they gave vehicles out to the Northern Alliance. And you got to remember, the Northern Alliance weren't a bunch of Democrats waiting, to throw flowers at the U.S. when they came in. They were the old allies of the Soviet Union. But in any case, and ruthless and have their own torturous practices. But anyway, so we came in, according to Ali Soufan, and gave them vehicles to help us, fight the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. And in some cases, they would drive their vehicle into some village that had never seen a vehicle before, offer a ride to villagers. They'd get on, and then they'd deliver them over to some U.S. base post in collective reward. So, you know, the people that Donald Rumsfeld said were the worst of the worst terrorists, I think they initially numbered around 770 or whatever the exact number were people that had been picked up and sold for a bounty, according to Ali Soufan of the FBI. That number has diminished, actually really only started beginning to diminish when the Bush administration released a whole bunch when they finally got some court scrutiny over what they were doing.
We take real pride in our websites and who we work with on the show, and those are the guys at Squarespace. They've been running our website londonreal.tv and our siliconreal.com for over a year now, and they are an all-in-one platform to make it fast and easy to build your own professional website or portfolio. These guys have the tech down. It's drag and drop. It is easy. I used to run a WordPress site, and I used to have to FTP audio files and all this nonsense. And now when you see these blogs that I write every week where I talk to you about my personal impressions of the guests, I literally just bust those out, drop the picture in, boom, and it's done.